if it's a hit with them, it's a hit. But I would say "Breathe" is probably his biggest single.
It's the most emblematic song of his to me. Now,
I do think it's the one that you think of.
Banks, on the other hand, like he's on Fab's level, if not better, from a technician standpoint, right? But I think it's polar opposites in terms of voice and delivery and how palatable that is for the audience or the listener, the consumer.
Couldn't be more opposite.
Speak Easy Studios. Speak and be heard.
Yo, this is Stephen Lee.
And I'm Frank Jackson.
And we are the Distinguished Critics. We're here to break down some of our favorite albums and songs and debate what's overrated, underrated, and everything in between. So join us as we go back and relive some of music's most iconic projects. Give us a listen wherever you get your podcasts, and please remember to rate, review, subscribe, and give us those 5 stars. What's up, everybody, and welcome to another edition of This or That Shorts. I'm Stephen Lee, as always, joined by Frank Jackson, and today we are going to be discussing 2 singles from 2 criminally slept-on New York MCs. That's right, we're talking about On Fire by Lloyd Banks and Breathe by Fabolous. Frank, how you doing today, man?
Good. I'm excited to talk about these 2 because these are 2 people I have in what I like to call the slaughterhouse category.
Okay.
More so Banks than Fab. So Fab was somebody who was just a true technical great MC, right?
He's a rapper's rapper.
Yes, but he also did know how to make hits. And between the early to mid 2000s, I mean, he had Traded All, he had Can't Let You Go, he had Breathe.
Superwoman,
another one.
Can't Deny It.
He had, Can't Deny. I mean, Fab had hits, but at his core, he really is just that rapper's rapper, like true MC. Banks is that all the way. Banks had a couple of hits, but I think Banks really is that dude that's just more comfortable putting out, like, I got these bars for you, I'm going to put these out. I'm not going to try to reach for any kind of hit. I'm going to just go in.
Right.
Like, that's what he's more comfortable doing. I think both of these guys are in that category to varying extents.
Well, this song from Fab is like a perfect representation of what he is at his core.
Yeah.
Like, this is a display.
This was the intersection of both.
Right. The big songs were all lady songs because he always had that, like, Mace type of voice and flow, and I feel like that's super radio-friendly. Like, just his delivery. Like, he sounds good on a record. But what you're getting on Breathe is really lyrically what, to me, you would find on one of, like, his DJ Clue type of tapes.
Yeah.
Where it's like, Just Blaze takes the Supertramp sample, flips it perfectly, and then Fab builds this hook around it. And, man, this is one of the last, like, true New York anthems to me.
Yeah, I would think
like,
so.
That sounds like a New York song.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely. And it's something that crossed over to everyone else, though. You
Right.
know, where it wasn't just so, for lack of a better term, dusty. It kind of just crossed over to
Fab
to
had that
everyone.
ability. Fab still has that ability.
Yeah, he was very, it's like he had that kind of Mace quality, like you say. He's very clean with, not in content, but just his delivery, everything he did.
And his voice.
Sounded so clean.
Right.
Like he was, his punches were just so technical and they hit. And he just had bars for days. Like, Fab just wake up and have bars for days. And Breathe was that perfect intersection of a radio hit that
was still like a pure,
it
was like a pure hip hop song at the same time.
Absolutely.
So, like, kudos,
that's hard to do.
Kudos to him for that again, right?
Yep.
Because it is one of those things where he was on a lot of, like, the Diddy type of songs, and there's nothing wrong with that. But, like, I'm glad people got a chance to see, like, what Fab is on this type of single.
I can't imagine there's many things that, you know, he would be more proud of, or if you're a Fab fan, because it was something for everybody.
Do you think this is his biggest song, like his most known?
Yes, but I would say that the Lil Mo stuff is probably
up there.
It's up there
As far as
it's
reach
close.
and everything.
Yeah, because, I mean, that's also, those tracks were for the ladies, and let's be honest, they drive a lot of music. I mean, if it's a hit with them, it's a hit, right?
Yeah.
So But I would say "Breathe" is probably his biggest single.
It's the most emblematic song of his to me. Now,
I do think it's the one that you think of.
Banks, on the other hand, like, he's on Fab's level, if not better, from a technician standpoint, right? But I think it's polar opposites in terms of voice and delivery and how palatable that is for the audience or the listener, the consumer.
Couldn't be more opposite.
Banks has that, I'm Lloyd Banks, like it's very like kind of raspy and Kermit the Frog-ish almost,
Yeah.
but if you're listening to what he's saying, man,
It sounds like Scooby-Doo, to be honest.
I love Banks.
Yeah.
Banks is in my personal like top 10 favorite rappers of all time and has been for the better part of 18 years.
That's fair. I mean,
That being said,
he's
though,
a lyricist.
we're talking about On Fire today. We're not talking about Lloyd Banks' career. We're not talking about The Hunger for More, the album. We're talking about this particular single. And as big of a Banks fan as I am, I don't really like this song that much, to be honest.
Okay.
It's very formulaic. It's the G-Unit sound of 2004.
It is.
And a lot of that stuff, unlike Breathe and records that came out from New York around that time, hasn't aged well, right?
So I totally agree with that this song has not aged well. Like, I'm not even, if I hear this come on anywhere, I'm not like that excited. I'm just like, oh, I remember this is a banger. Like, it's, I think what's more important about this is just that movement that G-Unit was.
And he was the first artist to like really be pushed. This is before Buck. This is before Game.
50 had all these dudes going platinum.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was 50 rolled out first, and the biggest rollout of our lifetime, and then pushed his artists who were all, except for Yayo, good in their own way, right? And they all had major success.
Mm-hmm.
And Banks is the best rapper in G-Unit. Better
Easily.
than 50.
Easily.
Not a better song maker than 50, but a better rapper very easily.
He's underrated in terms of song making, though. I see, unlike Game, I do think Banks can craft hooks. Like, he doesn't. So with Banks, it's like he'd prefer to spit 32 bars. But when he has to, he can make, like, there are singles from this album that are infinitely better than On Fire, Karma being one of them.
So, my favorite single from the Lloyd Banks singles of this time is I'm So Fly.
Okay.
It came out at the same fucking time.
It's another one that sounds like the G-Unit formula, but it's better.
But I can, like, that one, if I listen to that, that's something that I still like.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can still listen to I'm So Fly. I don't know why. It's just something about it's just smoother to me. Like, I'm not with the whole club, like the club music of the time. I'm just
the
wasn't my style.
The New York club music of the time.
It wasn't my, yes, that's an important distinction.
Right.
Because that was the New York club music at the time. It's not my favorite. It's the same thing as if, like, Disco Inferno came on. I'd be like, I'm not.
Or Candy Shop or one of the,
It's not really my cup of tea.
Right.
But I will say, even though it hasn't aged very well, it did show that I think it's important when you're trying to push new artists to people to give them as much of them as you can in terms of versatility. So Banks was always going to show people the bars.
Right.
Right. That's what
he's the punchline
is.
king. Yeah.
That's what he is, just at his core. But showing that he could make hits off the bat.
Right. Even if it's not our cup of tea, like this was
objectively speaking,
it was a big song.
Yeah,
huge. It was a big song.
And he had several.
He had several. Again, I don't like the song very much because I don't even feel like he got to. You can make a club song and still display bars. Like, Beamer, Benz, or Bentley, I think, is a perfect example of what he was able to do years later.
Yeah.
But this just sounds like your standard G-Unit fare, and not all of that is great.
Agreed.
You know, so as much as I like Banks, if we're putting this song up against Breathe
washes this.
I think it does, right? And this is coming from, like, one of Lloyd Banks' like biggest fans. Like,
probably the biggest Lloyd Banks fan.
I check for every project, but I'm not gonna sugarcoat it and say just because it's Banks, this song is better than Fab's. Even though I'm not the biggest Fab fan, right?
Right.
I like Fab, but, like, I never go out of my way to check for his
I
projects.
was a huge Fab fan at the
back
time,
then.
certainly.
Yeah. See, I wasn't even at that level with him then.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I just more respected him, and if he was on a song, I knew he was going to body it.
Yeah.
But I wasn't checking for Ghetto Fabulous and Real Talk, these albums, the way I was with Banks. But there's no question.
Even the ladies singles, like I had this long mirror in my room, and I would just dance in front of it in my drawers and listen to that on repeat.
All right.
And I would imagine I was in the video.
Well, that's awkward.
So,
yeah.
I would say that Breathe is probably my favorite. I'm sorry. I was thinking about myself being famous.
Yeah.
It's probably my favorite Fab single, and I think it easily washes
On Fire.
On Fire.
Yeah, I'm going to agree there, too. So let us know what you think in the comments, and until then, we'll be back next week. Peace.
Thanks for giving us a listen. Give us your feedback and let us know how you really feel. Subscribe, rate, review, and we'll see you next week.